back to Kings of Influence.
Kings of Influence, here we are every Wednesday at noon. Thanks for joining us, you guys. I'm Epic Lloyd.
And I am Ray William Johnson, baby.
And here we are on the podcast that we talk about whatever's outrageous on the internet this week, right?
Internet outrage culture. What the hell are people fighting about? What are you guys fighting about?
What are you guys upset about? What's bringing us together? What's tearing us apart?
That's adorable.
Yeah, isn't
That's adorable.
it?
Yeah.
That's the t-shirt.
I'm way into it.
Yeah.
So we are here live every Wednesday at noon. If you would like a text when we go live, you can text us at
43506, and you text the word Kings to the number 43506, and then you will get one and only one text a week that lets you know when we are going live. So we're doing that because it's a complicated internet world now, and it's tough to reach everybody on YouTube sometimes. So
That's right.
We're taking the rules into our own thumbs.
That's right. That's right. It's also cool just to kind of get a text. Like, oh,
Yeah.
hey, there's a text from Lloyd and Ray.
Yeah.
So this week we got a really good show. We got a man who wins a Polish competition show, and he does it by imitating Drake in blackface. That's fun.
All right.
We have an alt-right hate group called the Proud Boys. They recently got banned from Facebook and Instagram.
All right.
We have Saturday Night Live comedian Pete Davidson. He mocks a wounded war veteran. That'll be fun to talk about. We got Kim Kardashian's back in the news for using the word retarded.
Uh-oh.
Don't really care about her, but I want to talk about that word because that'll be fun.
Okay.
We're talking about Dr. Phil.
Doctor. Good old doctor full of shit.
One more time, he exploits a woman's mental illness. Surprise, surprise.
Surprise.
I know. And then we've got a campaign ad for Trump that's causing a lot of controversy this week. So much controversy that it got pulled from Fox News, actually.
I have a funny story about that, actually. We'll tell it when we get there.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That is great.
Man, it's been a big week. It was election week, so obviously it's going to be a big week in the news.
Huge. Yeah, the news just came out that, Jeff Sessions has been asked to resign,
And
which is...
for all you people out there, I do have to go on record and say that Ray called that shit in my kitchen not 15 minutes ago. What did you say?
I said two things are going to happen. Now that the elections are over, now that the midterms are over, two things are going to happen in the next week or so. One, Jeff Sessions is going to get fired.
I'm like, nah.
And two, the Mueller report is... So there's going to be some kind of Mueller announcement.
Something about
the
that
Mueller
investigation.
report's going to come in, yeah. For better or worse, we're going to see some results, I think.
Right, and you explained to me that when there's an election going on, out of like best practices, those investigations kind of get put on pause for a while.
No, it's not that. It's that the Department of Justice has a policy that they won't announce anything. I think it's 60 days before an election or 90 days, I can't remember, but a certain period before an election, they won't make any big announcements that could have an effect on the election.
On the midterm elections.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And so it's not that they stopped the election, it's that they're just not talking about it.
So you think you were right about the Sessions thing. Literally, we were in here, and then InfoZack goes, "Holy shit!
They just fired Jeff Sessions."
And we both had a laugh. And then so now I do think that report will probably come out because it's not like it went away.
Correct.
It's not like they forgot about it. They're
Right.
gonna divulge some stuff.
Yeah, that's just my prediction of the things. And
but what else would they do with that report? Nothing?
No, they would continue investigating because they're not done.
Huh.
So I think they are done with at least part of it. I think. But who the hell knows?
No collusion.
No collusion. I got a big announcement before we get into these stories.
All right,
kind of a
all right.
personal thing.
What do you got? Now I'm nervous.
Now you already know. So for the first time in my life, I'm going to me and Red Kelly are going to buy a house.
Wow. Can we get the applause?
We went. We have. It's just a. They're just laughing at us. Or maybe it's a.
Oh, the real estate market.
Yeah, really. Yeah. So I've never owned a house. I've always rented just because I like to live fast and dangerously.
Yeah.
And I'm in this relationship. We've been going out for about 2.5 years, and it's great. There's no doubt in my mind. We already live together.
Yeah.
No doubt in my mind that I want to get a house and that I would like to do it with her.
That's great.
And so we kind of went house shopping on a whim. Like, we'll just go look. We'll go to some open houses. No big deal.
Yeah.
And then of course you get sucked in because
man.
you go visit all these houses and you find one and you're like, this is us.
Dude, you haven't even gotten to the part where, so you're so early in it. So Josie and I own obviously this house.
Yeah.
But we also had a condo. We bought a condo in like 2007.
Okay.
Which was our first like experience. And that feeling of like anxious anticipation only gets ratcheted up when like you love this house and all of a sudden you find out like there's like 4 more people bidding on it. You're like,
Oh,
who
yeah.
are these people?
Who
bidding
are
on
these
this?
people?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to speed up the process.
Yeah, you walk in there with cash on the barrelhead, and then you
I
make
could
him an
do
offer.
that.
Yeah,
I could do that. I'm gonna offer them almost what it's worth.
yeah,
Like maybe even just half, but that's still a ton. I don't want to offer them cash because that if you don't make payments on something, your credit starts to
yeah.
go down.
I think I was just using that as a term.
Oh,
But
okay.
the house on that corner over here, on my corner, literally just sold in cash. There's a whole mess of things that change once you own a house, which is like weird. First of all, the cops come. But like everything you do about the sale and the purchase and the value and everything that you do is basically public record. So everybody's going to be able to find out what you bought and sold for and all that kind of stuff, which that was the first thing that was kind of weird. Second thing, your address becomes public record as well. So you start getting mail and just you get put on all these lists and things. So you'll find that happens very quickly too. Like,
Ugh.
oh, the census people come by now, or hey, did you ever do this or that? But what also is really cool, you start to, I mean, for me, you start to feel more connected to your community in a weird way.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a really cool feeling. It's nice. It's like if something goes wrong, not only in your house but on the block, that's kind of on you. It's like
Right.
you're not renting anymore. It's not like you kick it up the line. You're like, hey man, we gotta fix these potholes. This is ridiculous.
Oh, I'm looking at this house that I'm really into, and within about 20 minutes, I'm looking over at the neighbors going, well, that guy needs to mow.
Let me go knock on that door real quick.
I'm like turning into my grandfather. My grandfather would mow his neighbor's yard just so it didn't make his place look bad.
Yeah.
He was that guy.
Yeah, and I'm sure they loved that.
Well, he would mow like part of it. It was kind of a dicky thing, like just enough to where it didn't look like part of his property wasn't mowed. So he would just mow theirs.
Hint.
And it looked like if you walked into a barber and asked for a trim,
Yeah.
and then about halfway through you stopped them and you're like, this is mine.
This is good.
And it's really, you can see shaved lines and all that. You can see where they stopped. That is the result. That's what it was like when my grandpa would mow the neighbor's yard, where it just looked like the guy hadn't mowed. He got half a haircut.
That's funny, man.
But yeah, it's a big deal. It's a big step in our, me and Red Kelly's relationship, and
Yeah.
you guys have been following along. You at home with all that, and you know that a year or so ago, I was living in an apartment, not with Kelly, and my neighbor, old lady, was medicated and decided to cook or something and passed out, left the stove on, and her apartment caught fire and it caught to mine. Some neighbors ended up going up there and getting her. Some other neighbors. I was out of town. I was in Chicago doing a stand-up show.
Or else I would have totally saved you, bro.
Yeah, totally.
I would have totally
ran
smashed
in,
that window in, man.
and all the orphans.
Yeah.
Also.
Yep.
But anyway, so my building was condemned.
I have a question.
Sure.
If you have an urn with a bunch of ashes in it,
Uh-huh.
and then your house catches on fire, do you bother saving the ashes, or are they going to be fine?
They're gonna be contaminated.
Yeah, I mean,
with like drywall.
I guess my question
ashes?
is an urn fireproof?
I don't think so. I think it's more decorative.
Okay. Go on with your story.
Oh, yeah. So the fire got to my apartment. My building was condemned, and I had to temporarily move out while I was in the middle of my tour.
Right.
So Kelly's like, well, you can stay with me for a while till your apartment gets fixed. So I moved in with her really quick through all my burnt smoke,
Yeah, that's
like damaged stuff. It stunk like burnt popcorn. I threw it in storage, moved in with Kelly in her small apartment, waiting for my old one to get fixed and uncondemned.
Right.
And then after about a month, they gave us an estimate on how long it would take, and it was going to take up to 12 months. And I was like, all right, well, I will find a new apartment then. So I wasn't really actively looking. I was being a little lazy about it, partly because I kind of enjoyed living with Kelly and her cats.
Yeah.
And then after a while, I said, the next thing I'm going to do, next thing I'm going to move into, I'm going to purchase a house, and that's just going to take a little longer. And Kelly's like, cool.
Yeah,
Let's do
it's
it.
a good thing to. And you know what? Once you get past at least in my situation, once you get past the down payment,
Yeah.
It was fairly comparable to the rent I was paying in my situation.
Yeah. Yeah. Done all the math, and
that-
that's certainly the case.
Yeah, the down payment was definitely, that's where you like, if you don't have savings or whatever, that's where you like ask your uncle for help or whatever.
Can I get this down payment? No. I got some savings.
Yeah,
I got some
that's
savings. Thank
crazy.
goodness.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
man.
good news.
Let's get into. I hope we didn't bore the audience to death
No,
with
man,
our
that's
personal
good stuff.
anecdotes.
That's good stuff. If you're bored by that audience, go thaw out your frozen Grinchy hearts.
We want to hear
That was
your
some-
radical centrist views, not this bullshit about you buying a house.
Oh yeah, your new radical centrist term, dude. I kind of dig it.
I'm telling you, that's my thing. That's what I am. And if you out there at home agree with me on a lot of this stuff, if you are analytical about looking at all of these situations and not like checking a little partisan box on left, on right, then you are also a radical centrist.
Oh yeah, we're starting a movement.
That's right.
We're not talking bowels, people.
That's right. So there you are. You are the kingdom, but you are also a radical centrist.
The radical.
More of a cult. You guys want to be a cult?
Dude,
That sounds like fun.
Let's get outfits.
Yeah?
What would be your cult outfit?
Ooh. Could we borrow from Star Wars?
You can do whatever you want, man. This is a radically centrist movement.
Okay, so I'm feeling like old school monks' robes.
Okay, like Jawa?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like old school sort of Gregorian monk robes, but we stylize them. Maybe there's polka dots. Maybe they're like a bright blue instead of that crappy brown.
I dig it.
Leave the earth tones at home and go for something a little more
Yeah, a
radical.
little bit more fashionable.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't need to.
That's our cult.
We don't need to blend in with the sand at this point.
Yeah. No.
Nice. I love it.
That'd be good. What about your
I want to go full martial arts uniform.
like a gi?
Like all gi. All gi all the time.
white gi or black
Any
gi?
kind, you can go, anything, as long as it doesn't look like, a Klansman robe or something like
Okay.
that. But like a full-on gi with a belt and like bright. Sometimes they're like red, like remember that old video game Kung Fu? There was the
Yeah.
red guy and the white guy. I just want people to know when we get to the party,
And it's a little bit intimidating too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You're
oh,
in a
yeah.
fighter's
We're
uniform.
non-violent though. We're non-violent.
What if we were non-violent cult that wore like a full suit of armor out everywhere?
Yeah. yeah. Like AT-ATs.
We're peaceful.
Yeah, we're peaceful.
We're
but
so
if not,
peaceful.
we're ready.
All right, man. Let's get to this story. So we got this Polish man. All right, so there's a competition television show in Poland, and it's kind of like it's got that American Idol
Yeah, look just like American Idol.
vibe, or what is it, America's Got Talent. And this guy gets on there, this contestant, and in his segment, he imitates Drake
Right.
in blackface,
Right.
and
yes.
he wins.
Well, let's
Look at it. Though.
Okay, let's
look
watch.
at it
Let's watch.
so we can get
Let's
everyone on board. It's a very amusing video, though, I gotta say. It's my favorite guy.
Yeah. I just can't believe this guy wins. The makeup aside.
Look at it.
Man, what have we learned today? It is
That
not
Poland's got
that difficult to get into the finals of Poland's Got Talent. I'm sorry if I'm insulting anyone from Poland here. What?
And the crowd's all. Look at that. All right, that's enough.
They're being won over.
The crowd's all into it. Like they're clapping.
Right.
So this got a lot of pushback and a lot of chatter from people because it's blackface and it's 2018
Yeah.
and people are sensitive about that stuff.
Well, I really want to have this conversation with a black person at some
Okay.
point in time and ask the question of, because you said the term blackface twice, but what's the difference between blackface and makeup? Because I watched this video and it's off-putting and it's sort of jarring, but he doesn't over accentuate characteristics of his body. He's not making fun of a race of people. He's impersonating
Right.
Drake.
Right.
So that's my question, and I guess it's not for me to answer, but what's the difference between accurate makeup and blackface, and what's acceptable? Because I don't see this as an insult to, other than the fact that the guy is sort of a mediocre singer.
Yeah.
I don't see it as he's not making fun of Drake. He's just trying to look like Drake.
Yeah.
So what's the answer, I guess?
I mean, I don't actually know the answer other than just pointing to the history of blackface. I would say if I were advising someone and they said they were going to wear blackface, I'd be like, you probably shouldn't. Just you're going to get a lot of pushback.
Right.
And I don't think you want to really deal with that.
Right. I mean, because why couldn't he just sing that song as what he looked like.
Well, that's the argument. That's the why you could have done this whole bit without painting yourself up.
Right.
But
And-
here's
yeah, go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Well, unless because I haven't seen this. I haven't seen this I haven't seen this show and I haven't seen other episodes. Like, is that this guy's thing? Is he
I don't think so.
Is he like a Drake guy, or is he like a Bart Baker or something where he does he like would next week him on the show, would he be dressed up like, I don't know, Van Halen or some other famous person? Is he an impressionist?
I think he's I don't know about that, but I think he's a funny guy. Like his stage name is Boogie. Like I think he's trying to be comical.
Oh, then he's failing horribly.
Well, who knows what's comical in Poland? I don't know.
But nobody was laughing.
No, they were into it.
They
Like
were
he was
into
doing
it.
a good job.
Yeah,
like,
that's
they
what I'm
were like,
saying.
this
They're
guy's great.
Yeah, this guy's got his.
Wow, what is
he's
this
got
song?
it down.
So
I don't know.
The interesting thing. So first of all, he won, and he won. It looks like 10,000 zloty.
Wow, I don't know how much that is.
Which is $2,500 which he gave to charity, which doesn't seem like a lot to win.
No. And
I expect more zloty, please.
Yeah, right? Jeez, where's this Lottie potty?
The first prize takes home 4 zloty and a block of cheese.
Ah, block of cheese! Call the family!
The grand prize is a goat.
A block of cheese.
Oh God. I can't do a Polish accent. That's
No.
really just my
No.
my standard foreign accent. Anyway, the interesting part about this is that Poland doesn't have the history of slavery and racism that we
course.
do in the United States.
Right.
So of course no one in the crowd was, clutching their pearls. They were clapping along because to them, this isn't racist.
Well, they certainly don't have the diversity in that country. And yeah, they don't have a history. I don't know if they have a history of slavery, but they certainly have a history of being on the opposite end of that. They were invaded
Right.
and conquered, and like many of the Jews in that country were the ones, that suffered most in the Holocaust. So
Sure, but they're
I don't know if those have anything to do with each other, but I guess what I'm saying is they weren't an oppressive people in their own
Right.
country.
right. And there is no what you said is true, but there is no Jewish there's no Jew face.
Well, I mean,
Or is there?
I mean, there's
Is there
definitely
Jew face?
There's not face, but there's definitely like there's not a term for it, but like if you got dressed up in like in like all black and white and like wore like your sideburns and wore a hat and like there's definitely costumes you could create that would be insulting to the Jewish faith.
Sure.
For sure. So I don't know if it's called Jew face, but I'm
I'm
fairly
gonna roll
certain.
with that
Yeah,
because
right.
it's catchy.
Yeah. No, but it's an interesting thing. It's an interesting thing that I would love to talk with somebody who's not white about it sometime. Maybe I will.
Well, it's hard to peg them as racist when that's not really part of their culture. That's why, not that I think everyone who dresses up in costume and does blackface is inherently racist, although they may be. It's hard for me to say that this guy is.
Yeah.
It's just not a part of his history. He could easily fall back on ignorance and be like, not only did I not know, but that's not a thing here, so I'm going to continue to do it. And he would have a solid argument.
Well, everybody in the audience certainly didn't
Yeah.
feel like it was a thing. And again, I think from his performance, you said he's trying to be funny, which is kind of weird, but from his performance, I don't see him doing anything that he's trying to be this character because he must like Drake.
Right.
I don't see him being insulting to black people there on the surface value. Again, I would love to hear the other side of that argument, but
Maybe I'm wrong about him trying to be funny. Maybe
Yeah.
I just see it because it seems so bad.
right.
Like if you go on a talent show and that's your talent and
Right.
you win,
Yeah.
I think, oh, you're trying to do comedy because
I
that's
just-
not a
I mean, this is maybe me being from LA and being, sort of hoity-toity, but I think the talent pool for the arts in Poland is not super deep. How big is that country? Maybe the size of like Missouri or
It's got to be better than that, or maybe
bigger.
the prize just isn't enough zloty.
Yeah, nobody's like 25 zloty, dude. F these 25 zlotys.
10,000 zloty.
Yeah, dude, I blow 10,000 zlotys in the strip club, bro.
Exactly. You better
Yeah.
give me 14 zloty. You better give me 14 zloty in my neighbor's mule.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Jeez. Yeah. So what do you do? What do you do when another culture does something that your culture often perceives as racist, but you're not a racist. Do you ignore it? Do you apologize? I don't think he apologized or anything like that.
No, I think you have to have I feel like people who are on the extreme levels of both sides of the conversation are sort of useless.
Yes.
And you have to talk to the middle of that bell curve.
Exactly.
And I think anybody in the middle of that bell curve is going to be able to sit down, that guy probably included, and say, look, here's the situation and let's talk about it. And, I learned something today.
Right.
But if you're just knee-jerk reaction to like, you're a racist or whatever, and you take away all the other factors of the situation, I not only think you're inaccurate, but I don't think you're helpful.
That's a good point. I'm really, really glad he didn't apologize, or not that I saw. I'm really glad, because to me, that's like if you got in a time machine and you went back to, I don't know, the 1800s, and you started yelling at people about, segregation and slave ownership and all of these things, which we are entitled to feel that stuff is horrible because it is. But in that time, what you have is you have a whole lot of people who are doing this terrible thing that was incredibly normal at the time. And I never fault people for being a product of their time, because I know for a fact that you and I and Zach and everyone listening to this podcast right now is doing something
that in 100
today.
years from
They
now,
will do something today that in 20 years from now, they'll look back on and be like, I can't believe we used to do that.
I went back through my journals the other day and found this old, like, I used to do like raps and spoken word and stuff. I found this poem about like a babies on planes, and it was, I would never say that now. And that was like 2003. It was like some hard, I was like, dude, what is wrong with you?
Was it like violent?
It was just super aggro and insensitive about people with babies on planes.
Okay.
And I mean, maybe in the moment it was funny to me or whatever, but like certainly now I would never say it, having the experience that I do. And also it would not be acceptable to say that shit anymore. It's just so funny how fast things change.
Well, have I told you my theory on on all of that? I have this theory that in, I don't know, 40 years, 50 years or whatever, they will invent some kind of device that you can like put on an animal. Let's say you put it on a cow or something, and it will translate that animal's thoughts or emotions into language that we can understand. Like I'm hungry or I'm thirsty or whatever.
Yes.
And from that point on, eating animals will be considered extremely inhumane. Yeah. And I'm not a vegan or a vegetarian by any means at all. I can just see this happening in the future. And not only that, subsequently, everyone who ate animals before them will be seen the way that we see slave owners now.
Well, what about when they put it on trees?
I don't know if trees have thoughts, but I hope that doesn't happen.
It'll just be super slow. I hope they all become Ents, like in the Lord of the Rings, those tree things.
Oh, that'd be great. Sort of.
But like, what if some of that? What if what if the animal? What if it was switched? What if like cows were like the nicest creatures, right? And then they were like, oh my God, I can't believe we were eating these cows for so long. And then they put it on a dog, and the dog's like, we're gonna fucking murder you the second we can.
Oh, yeah.
Like in your sleep, we're just plotting, man. You better keep us down. We're like, oh, we gotta start eating dogs.
Right. We just completely switched. Well, my thought, but my the other thought was, what if they put it on the cow, this device, and you find out that cows are not evil, but they're just like judgmental pricks.
Yeah.
They're
Totally.
just, you're walking by, they're like making fun of your weight. Psst, who are you calling a cow?
Awful.
Yeah, drinking my milk, you bitch.
Suck my teat.
And then you're like glad to bite into a burger.
Yeah, then I think maybe it'll go that way too. And chickens will just be like, they'll all just sound like stupid or something. I don't know. They can't be that smart.
What if chickens sound like women who have brunch?
I'm not even going there, Ray. As a guy who's married to a woman who eats brunch,
okay,
I'm not even going there, bro.
They're just sitting around gossiping and.
Well, that's what they call them, chicken heads. That's where the term chicken heads come from.
I thought it was chicken heads were crackheads. Is it? Does that
no,
just
chicken
mean...
head is like. Mm-mm.
Oh,
it's like that stuff.
I
think so.
Nice.
That's what I think.
Oh.
There's another term that I think is probably not you can't use it anymore, but because I don't want no that was that song. There was a song about chicken heads, and then like I think TLC responded to it about I don't want no.
No, you're thinking of I don't want no scrubs by TLC, and there was a response to that of I don't want no pigeons.
Oh, I think pigeons came out first, and then Scrubs came out after that.
Are you
think
sure?
I'm not sure. Obviously, I'm not sure.
I think Pigeons was a response to Scrubs.
No, because Scrubs is a dude, and Pigeons was a girl.
Right. But the TLC song was such a hit that people made responses to it.
Oh, I don't know.
That's my understanding. Anyway, we're dating ourselves.
Yeah, we are. We really are.
Fancy newfangled rap group called TLC.
Tender, loving, care. Can you look that up, Zach? Can we find out? Zach's on it.
I'm already on it.
Okay.
Info Zach's already on it.
He's got it. All right. Well, we will dip into our next topic really quick. How you guys doing out there?
Everybody feeling good? Let us know how you guys feel in the comments later, but don't use bad language. God.
How dare you?
How dare you?
You're going to look back in 20 years and hate yourself for using that language, see?
I hear you.
What barbarians we are. Anyway, that's just my theory. I still eat meat. And I still love it, but it's just a thing.
Yeah, so it was. Pigeons was in response to Scrubs, but it was by Sporty Thieves.
Sporty Thieves! Oh, yeah. I do remember that.
But, Lloyd, you're also right. Chickenhead does refer to women who can be seen as sort of
not crackheads.
They cluck.
Okay.
There's a clucking aspect, I believe. Not the most nice way to describe a lady, but nonetheless, that's what it was.
You ever heard of this group called the Proud Boys?
Yes, it's not a group. It's not like a band. It's more like a clan. But
right.
Yes, I've heard
it's
it.
not your alt-rock band.
Yeah.
So they're not alt-rock. They're alt-right, and they are classified as a hate group, for better or worse.
Yep.
And they were created by this guy, Gavin McInnes. And recently, they got banned from Facebook and Instagram, like completely, because Facebook and Instagram deemed them a hate group. Or Facebook and it's the same company.
Yeah.
But Facebook deemed them a hate group. They were banned from Twitter like not too long ago.
Yeah.
But
you can't,
So the interesting thing, so I guess like 2 weeks ago or whatever, the founder, Gavin McInnes, who also co-founded Vice.
Yeah, that's
interestingly
crazy
enough,
because
right?
Vice is so left-wing.
Vice took a left turn for sure.
Maybe in response to that guy. I wouldn't be surprised if they were like, that's why he left.
Yeah.
Because Vice used to be like this really sort of raunchy magazine.
Yes.
And I think it has changed in a lot of ways.
It definitely changed.
To more of a political type of a thing. But
he co-founded Vice. He's sort of a internet YouTube personality now as well. He's very right wing. He has sort of a big following, and bless him for that.
Bless him.
But he started this group. Wait
a minute. Did you just say bless him?
Bless him for that, for being an online personality and having a big following.
Okay.
Pardon me for being sympathetic to those type of people.
I guess.
So he has this big following, for better or worse, on YouTube or whatever, and it's a men's rights group.
Yeah.
And he goes on Joe Rogan, maybe it was a couple of years ago, and talks about...
This was when it first came out?
When it first came out. And I actually have that clip. And it's really interesting to listen to him describe it, because he describes it as a gang, and then he describes all the things that you have to do to get in. So listen to this.
All right.
I started this gang called the Proud Boys. And
the Proud Boys?
The Proud Boys.
What's Proud Boys about?
We have chapters all over the world. We meet.
we meet
once a month.
Chapters.
We get drunk and it's like the Elks Lodge.
Okay.
Like Masons or whatever.
The Elks
celebrating manhood.
Yeah, no women allowed.
No women allowed.
You can't tell your woman what goes on at the meetings. And we have different degrees, like the Knights of Columbus. First degree, you declare yourself a Proud Boy. Second degree, we beat the shit out of you until you can name 5 breakfast cereals, and you have to give up masturbating. And then third degree, you still have to give up masturbating, but you have to get a tattoo. And then fourth degree, you get arrested or in a serious violent fight for the cause.
Really?
Yes.
You get arrested in a serious violent fight, so you're promoting violence?
Or some sort of major altercation.
You should erase that part.
Well, we don't.
Yeah, get him, Joe. Get him, Joe.
But
no
if you're
kidding.
Defending, like at the Berkeley thing with Milo.
All right, now he gets into a personal anecdote. But first of all, good on Joe for calling out that part.
It's like Fight Club.
Yeah. Well, yes, the later Fight Club.
That part.
The Space Monkeys part. Yes. So good on Joe for calling him out.
Yeah. What a douchebag that guy is.
I don't know if you heard probably the most interesting part of that, not necessarily the violent part. So you got to go to the meetings. You got to give up masturbating. That's like
that's
tier
not good
2.
for anybody.
Well, I don't understand why that's part of it. What is it like?
Maybe it makes you more aggressive. Maybe it makes you more like I'm gonna conquer women and not like calm myself down or something. I don't know.
Well, allegedly they see it as beta. as
Beta?
very beta to like give in to your own sexual desire.
Oh yeah, maybe they see it as weakness.
Yeah, and then how do they police that?
Right? Let me weigh your balls, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
How heavy are those balls?
Someone just shows up to a meeting and is like, "I didn't make it.
Yeah, I didn't make it.
Am I kicked out?"
That's like that Seinfeld episode. Are you a master of your own domain?
I'm out.
I'm out.
Just puts the money on the
Yeah.
table.
Ugh.
I don't get why that's it. And then, well, you also, in order to be initiated, you have to let them beat the shit out of you until you name 5 cereals or something like that, which sounds satirical.
It sounds ridiculous.
Yeah.
But this shit has caught on.
Yeah, no, it caught on. And I think he may have started it as like a half joke because I was like, oh, you got to get a tattoo. And I guess people bought into it. And there are different chapters all around the world. They do marches and they show up to protest and counter
that's the
protest. They
problem
get into fights.
They like were standing side by side with like the Unite the Right people in the Charleston
Yeah,
riots.
that's what I read.
And they've been a part of all of that shit. They Klan meetings and organizing that stuff. And
Klan meetings.
I
huh?
mean, they stand with the same type of people that organize these
Yeah,
things.
it's weird. They get accused of being white nationalists, but white nationalism's not really their thing. But they get lumped in with that quite a bit, and I think that's because part of it's like white nationalism without the race part attached. It's definitely nationalism.
Yeah, I mean, he's just not a good person. Like, he's just not a good person. You could see it. Like, and like, no women and rah, rah, rah. Like, come on, man. I'm glad they got shut up. You know what I mean? Facebook, Instagram, private companies. You're out, bro. You're out.
That's true.
You're out.
You are dealing with private companies. Well, they designated them a hate group, and you're not allowed to. I don't know. Oh, they shut down. I don't know what they're not allowed to do and not allowed to do, but they certainly shut down all pages affiliated.
We don't want you on our
with
shit.
the Proud Boys. I feel like YouTube is next
Good.
for this stuff. But these guys go up against Antifa a lot. I started watching videos, protest videos and stuff on this, and I was gonna show you some, but they like get into fights. And we can't
These
show
people get into fights. I don't want to watch
a
them.
lot. Well, we can't show fight videos on here. We'll get
Right.
pulled, and that's just not the kind of show I want to show. To have a bunch of violence on here, we can talk about it.
Yeah.
But I did pull some still images. Like shit gets real.
Yeah, and they're like anti-Muslim and
Yeah,
just
I don't
all that,
even
like,
know.
all that closed-minded BS.
Are they
It's-
anti-Muslim?
I mean, it looks like it, right? Is that them about to fight the guy in a turban?
Oh, the guy in the turban is Antifa, which is a whole other
Oh.
thing we can talk about some other time.
Jeez.
Yeah, the Antifa, they cover up their face. They're the extreme left. Although they're not organized in the same way that the Proud Boys are, especially where you've got their leader going on Joe Rogan saying, I started this gang,
Yeah.
and that's immediately going to put you on the government's radar. I started this gang.
Gang.
And part of being a member is that you have to do something violent or get arrested. And so, because what people are going to do is they're going to look at that and they're going to project that onto the entire group because you're the leader. And they say, okay, this group is a gang and they promote violence.
Well,
And Antifa just isn't quite organized in the same
they're
way.
not promoting violence and they're not promoting hate.
Even though they get into a lot of violent scuffles I've seen, there's no like independent leader you can point to and go, well,
Right.
this group believes what that guy believes and that guy's horrible. Therefore, this group is horrible. Therefore, we need to take him down. Antifa feels like a pocket of movements, if that makes
Yeah.
sense, as opposed to one cohesive
Well, it's like this
movement.
whole big underculture. It's like what you were talking about, me would talk about today. Like this kid, I was just recently at a thing and this kid tried to put like a white power symbol in the photo with me. And it's like, I didn't even know what that was.
A kid took a photo with you
Yeah.
after a show.
Yeah, and did his little, like, it like looks like basically looks like when you used to like
Well, you can do it on
go on
camera.
there. No, I mean,
Oh,
I don't
you don't
even
wanna
want to
show
do
it.
it.
Okay, you did a
it
hand
basically
symbol.
looks like an AOK symbol upside down, but like you said, like, hey, look at this, and then they look and they punch you. That's kind of turned into like the white power symbol.
What?
And people are, and I don't even know if that kid was into that stuff, but he's just like trying to be smart. You know what I mean? And it's like this under culture that's kind of bubbling under there. And the scary thing about it is that it has power because it makes it seem okay.
Right.
Or it gets people interested or curious about it. Like, I'm kind of glad I don't know too much of these Proud Boy people. It's like, I don't want to look up their shit all over the place. It's just easy for me sometimes to recognize, like, yeah, man, it doesn't, you got to go with your gut sometimes.
Yeah. Well, let me show you. Let me show you some the other like these Proud Boy rallies or whatever. Like when they show up to counter protest, it devolves pretty quickly. There's a lot, and you can always see MAGA hats, and that's the other thing.
Yeah.
Right. So they're obviously alt-right, so they're very into Donald Trump, and they all wear they often wear the MAGA hat and like these. I guess they're like the face masks, like that skiers wear, but they're kind of a skull.
Yeah.
I guess it's hard to explain. I'm not explaining it right.
I've seen those.
Here's another
They're
one.
almost like in video games and shit.
So that was the one.
It's like Gangs of New York, that movie. It looks like Gangs of New York.
Oh, right.
Like a bunch of different guys dressed up like firemen and like American flag jackets on and stuff. It's all beating each other up.
Yeah, and that's not good. Like I will go ahead and say Proud Boys is a hate group. I think we can all say that. And I know that when, I've read arguments about why the Proud Boys are good and why you need men's rights groups. And I think it's fine. You can have men's rights groups or whatever. It's just that these guys in particular are calling for violence.
They're calling for violence.
Or at least their leader
They're
is.
calling for segregation. They're calling for acts. It's like almost like the Pizzagate thing. Like how that ended up going. And the reason why that speech got taken down is because people do crazy stuff. They're inciting violence.
Right.
They're inciting people to hate it and actively promoting it and saying that it's good.
Yeah.
That's hate.
So Gavin McInnes, not too long ago, gave a speech in Manhattan, and there were some protesters outside his speech. And this is a picture of the fight that the Proud Boys got into with some of the protesters. Protesters may have just been the police report just said protesters. They may have been Antifa or whatever. You can see multiple guys in MAGA hats kicking this guy on the ground there. If you can, yeah. So I think I can't remember if it was 6 of them or 9 of them got arrested for that.
The Proud Boy guys.
Yeah, and
that's probably because part of their thing. These guys are probably trying to get initiated.
Right.
That's part of their thing is to beat up somebody.
But it was in response to this that Facebook and Instagram said, "Yeah, you guys can't be a thing." So think about that. A YouTube personality essentially started this alt-right, what is now classified as a hate group.
I mean, Jesus, I'll believe anything now. It's just so funny to me that it's the guy who invented Vice, like co-invented Vice.
Yeah.
Which is such a, and I have my opinions about Vice. I like some of it. I think some of it's fairly biased sometimes, but I like it
Very
overall
biased.
in general.
Yeah.
But it's on the complete other side of the spectrum of this, which is just because like who's the main guy in Vice? The guy with the beard?
Shane Black or Shane? What's his name?
Yeah, Shane something.
Yeah.
Like so, it was him and this guy Gavin who started Vice together. Like so, him and Shane were friends.
I guess so.
Wow.
I mean, they both seem like hard-working, hustling kind of guys.
I guess so, but
but they may have started Vice when it was like an edgy magazine.
Yeah, and Vice might have changed owners, and it might be lots of different things.
Yeah, I think Shane's still. I think Shane's
Shane Smith.
Shane Smith.
Shane Smith.
There it is. I think Shane still owns it.
I'm writing that down.
Shane Smith.
Shane Smith.
Shane Smith. So this comedian Pete Davidson.
Oh, Pete Davey.
Yeah, he did a thing on Saturday Night Live that got people really, really upset last week.
Yeah.
He made a joke about this guy, Dan, I forgot his name. He made a joke about a Texas congressman who was wounded in battle. Afghanistan and had an eye patch. Let's take a look at that. So he got some hot water for this.
Did he?
I want us to get away from this culture where we demand apologies.
That's that. This one.
This guy's kind of cool. Dan Crenshaw.
Oh, come on, man.
Dan Crenshaw.
Hold on. You may be surprised to hear he's a congressional candidate from Texas and not a hitman in a porno movie. I'm sorry. I know he lost his eye in war or whatever.
That's less funny.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
so if you guys didn't hear that,
yeah.
he said, sorry, I know he lost his eye. And so Dan Crenshaw has an eye patch. And Pete Davidson said, sorry, I know he lost his eye in war or whatever, and then kind of shrugs it off. And people kind of saw that as shitty.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the first joke, it was obviously written and approved.
Yeah.
You could tell. It sounds like an SNL joke. It's edgy and funny.
Sure,
and
sure.
I bet you the guy would probably have laughed. Here's what I've found. Most people that I know who have some sort of physical deformity or an injury or something as a result, they have a great sense of humor about it because what's your other option? You know, they are open about telling you about what happened and things like that. So I'm sure they can take a joke. I'm sure he's heard jokes like that. I think when you just minimalize having something like that happen to you violently as you're protecting the country,
Yeah.
that kind of rightfully so is like, yeah, I mean, hey man,
He lost it from a homemade landmine in
Yeah,
Afghanistan.
IUD.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Yeah.
So Crenshaw came back, and believe it or not, he had a pretty good response. He made a little video. I don't know if TMZ got a hold of it.
David Crenshaw.
Dan Crenshaw.
Dan Crenshaw.
Yeah, his response was he didn't demand an apology or anything like that.
Yeah.
I want us
Look
to
at
get
this.
away from this culture where we demand apologies every time someone misspeaks. I think that would be very healthy for our nation to go in that direction. We don't need to be outwardly outraged. I don't need to demand apologies from them. They can do whatever they want. They're feeling the heat from around the country right now, and that's fine.
So there's a
respect.
little bit more, but it didn't go in much more detail beyond that. Yeah, so he kind of rolled with it.
You know, I think this is like a great example of somebody taking the high road. Like
Yeah.
now based on this thing that Pete Davidson did that was sort of shitty and this guy's response to it, now I like that guy more.
Right.
You know what I mean? Maybe hell, maybe more people know his name after it. It's
They
not
do.
like a great thing.
Yeah.
But that guy takes the high road. You know, there it is. I think it is. I mean, it doesn't forgive the joke. I'm sure Pete Davidson's a clown.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's a clown. And I'm sure he feels bad about it. And I'm sure he would be the first one who would be like, I mean, I'm sorry. You know what
I mean, it was kind of an assholey thing to say, although I don't want to be the joke police because I have literally weeks worth of footage of me making jokes in podcasts and sketch comedy and shows that I've done and everything that people can look back on and be like, hey, remember when you said that thing? Well, I think that was kind of assholish.
Yeah.
And I think you should apologize. And I mean, I don't know what those things are. I'm pretty perfect in my humor.
Prestige.
Yeah, exactly. And also humble. I don't know what those things are, but they exist. So I wouldn't want to police anyone else's act.
Yeah. I mean,
Especially Saturday Night Live. They have way more cred than
yeah. Yeah. And I think that's why Lorne Michaels is always like, just stick to the damn script. You know?
Right.
But also Pete Davidson's a roast comedian as well, you know? Like
Yeah.
he's used to that stuff. And I think that I'm sure like Pete Davidson's dad died tragically in an act of terrorism. You know what I mean? So it's not like
he did.
Yeah, he died in the 9/11. Pete Davidson's dad died in 9/11.
What? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So that doesn't give him an excuse. You know, that's no excuse or whatever. But he's certainly not someone who hasn't experienced some sort of tragedy in his life. So I'm sure I'm sure he doesn't look upon that veteran and want ill of him. It sounds like something he just could have said off the cuff and went a little bit too far.
It felt like he was being flippant about it. The joke saying, well, he's got an eye patch, he looks like a villain in a porno movie. That does feel very Saturday Night Live. It feels just like one of the jokes they would make. But yeah, it was the shrug off afterwards.
Yeah.
If I really wanted to break it down, he was just kind of like, yeah, well, whatever.
Yeah.
I lost it in war or whatever. Like, well, it was pretty horrible.
That would be like somebody saying to him, yeah, your dad died in 9/11 or, you know, whatever.
Right.
You know, losing an eye is different than losing your life, but still tragic, you know?
Yeah. So this got a lot of right-wing pushback, but Saturday Night Live every week gets a lot of right-wing pushback.
Yeah, but a lot of times they disagree with it and they don't mind. I bet you Saturday Night Live felt bad and maybe issued an apology or something.
Yeah. Kenan Thompson actually did an interview.
Did he really?
Yeah, recently, and they asked him about this, and he said it went a little too far. You know, he was very diplomatic about it, as Kenan Thompson always is.
Yeah.
But he said, yeah, I love Pete, you know. I wouldn't, you know, be the joke police, but yeah, it felt like it was across the line, maybe.
Yeah.
But as comedians, you're always doing that. You're always looking for where that line is.
Yeah.
And he was very well spoken about it,
Yeah.
as they say.
Huh. Well, I feel like it'll they'll learn their lesson and go on, but I do think it's something that you won't hear about too much more in another week or so.
No. It wasn't. I mean, it was fake outrage. It was one of those things that I don't think anyone cares, especially when there is.
That porno joke was kind of funny.
It was kind of funny, but
Porno
there
joke was
is
kinda
this notion. There is this notion that, like, if you are on the right now and you support Trump, the presidential candidate who openly mocked John McCain for being
Yes.
captured in war,
Yes.
that now you're going to be upset at SNL for making, this statement, which was meant to be a joke. And I don't know if Trump's statement was meant to be a joke or what.
I mean, I can't even tell with that guy. I was listening to his interview today. He did a press conference today talking about
I
the
saw that.
midterms. I couldn't tell what was a joke and what wasn't. I really can't.
Are we living in that world where, like, I don't even know
I-
what's real. I don't know what satire is.
I can't. I just can't. I can't tell. It's so hard for me. So I don't know when he says, like, John McCain isn't a real war hero. Like, if you're a real war hero, you don't get caught. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, wasn't that something? He said something to the effect of that.
I prefer war heroes who don't get captured.
You're like, what? What? Are you kidding me? It's nuts. Like,
to John McCain.
To
The guy,
John McCain.
He's the definition of a war hero.
Yeah.
He wasn't just captured. Like, he was there for 5 years.
yeah. And so I can't. I have no idea, like, the difference between that and a guy like Pete Davidson. Like, he's a comedian. Everything he says, I can assume he's supposed to be doing it for laughs. So an offhanded comment. I'm sure that's not how he actually feels about war heroes. So.
Right. Maybe he does.
I don't know.
Maybe he's a total dick.
I heard one lady being like, well, when you get dumped by your girlfriend, I guess you really lash out. I was like, well, that's kind of a low blow too. Like, geez, like,
Also,
that sucks.
I think he would have made this joke
Anyway.
whether he was in a got dumped or was in a relationship.
I just want to know why he was
also,
in an
it's not
orange.
confirmed he was dumped.
Yeah. Why was he in an orange jumpsuit again? Was he supposed to be a convict?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I don't understand comedy. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Man.
Okay, there was a huge ad this week. Did you see this fucking
I saw
thing?
the ad.
Wow.
I was in a bar in Boston watching that football game.
Yeah.
It was a Patriots Green Bay game, I think.
Yeah.
And I saw this ad come up, and I'm so happy with myself because I saw it and I go, what the? And because I was with my buddy Ryan, and I look at, because we're in this old sort of dive bar in the middle of Cambridge, and all just sort of like, Boston people are kind of like a certain type of people that I love. And like everybody in the bar just kind of went, whoop. Like looked up and then looked down, but like it was a thing. It was a moment for that whole bar. We were like, what was that?
It was brutal.
Brutal.
So this is Trump's anti-immigration ad. This was his push because the midterms just happened yesterday. So this was his push for the midterm. So let's look at it and then we can talk about it.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, please step out of the hallway.
Break up soon, kill more.
Yeah.
If I can regret it is if I can kill two. I wish I can kill more of those motherfuckers. Kill more cops soon.
What does that guy's defendant say? The lawyer.
It's crazy. Yeah, them tearing down the fence.
He says he wants to apply for pardon for the felony he committed. Attempt of murder.
And then this part is scary as hell. Shaking the gate.
I mean, it's just so. That's so racist.
Yeah, you think
That's so racist. That is so racist. When Fox News says it's racist and pulls it down, like you gotta look. When you have an entire ad that paints an entire race of people or an entire region of people as like murderous, violent criminals, that is the definition of prejudgment and racism.
Yeah,
It's
so
exactly what it is.
for those of you who don't know, they tried to. So CNN rejected this ad immediately.
Good.
CNN was like, "We are not running this ad." NBC ran it, Fox News ran it, and Facebook ran it, and all three of them pulled it after they got pushback. So yeah, you're right. Even Fox News was like, "This is too much. We're getting too much pushback on this."
Well, they should have never run it in the first place.
I don't know if it's I don't know if it's racist. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. But it's definitely fear-mongering in the worst way.
Well, what how is it not racist?
I think it's xenophobic. That's why, which I know I'm just splitting hairs.
Yeah.
But it's fear of the other. It's fear of yeah, maybe it's racist.
It's racist.
It's fear of brown invaders.
Yeah.
Or it's painting all immigrants as illegal, and as murderers and as violent.
But not all immigrants, just Latino brown-skinned immigrants.
Sure.
Which is that's to me is the most telling part about it. Because
Sure.
it's not like a bunch of Korean people, then a bunch of Latino people, then a bunch of Italian people, then a bunch of African people. It's like these people that we have this problem with, as whatever right-wing people we are, they're violent, and you should make a judgment about them based only on their looks or where they're from or what language they speak.
Yeah.
And that is like the root of it. It's just I just couldn't believe it when I saw it.
Maybe it is. I don't want to be the guy that's quick to call everything racist, because that's we can do a whole episode on that. That is a whole other issue we're going through in society.
Yeah.
Whereas I forget who said this, but he said there's been no better time in history than right now to be an actual racist.
Right, because you could just blend in.
Because you blend right in with all these other people who are accused of racism who aren't really racism. It's definitely xenophobic. It's fear mongering. Xenophobic.
The
yes.
fear of Zima?
Hates teenage alcoholic beverages.
Dude, do not put a Jolly Rancher anywhere.
Exactly.
Xenophobic. Oh gosh.
It is, and it's fear mongering in the worst way. So to me, we get to the ethics of this, and I understand that the populace is very, very gullible, right? And I've never understood that more than I have in like the last 2 years, where you can really control the public by just bullshitting them in the right way.
And
right?
And the media. I mean, and I am not a fan of this administration. I've told you that. I'm fairly centralist, just like yourself. I think I've told you that. But I do agree with people being like, the media is the media. You can't trust the media.
Yeah,
it's not. It's not. This is why I like podcasting so much, because you don't get the whole picture.
Yeah.
Every single news outlet is an editorial now.
Mhm.
Everything is an editorial piece. Even like NPR and BBC, and like there's no more just the facts media outlets right now. And I think that's really dangerous, and let stuff like this happen. This never would have happened if the news wasn't worried about ratings.
Yeah.
You know? And because that's the only reason why they pulled it. They only pulled it after it got pushed back, which is a shameful thing.
Yeah.
You know, they should be looking at that they shouldn't let that on the air.
Right.
Especially not from the president.
What do you mean? What do you mean, especially not by the president?
The criminal in Danger Mouse posts that ad. You know, like Dr. Claw or like Magneto or something posts that ad. Like that's the danger. That's the bad guy from a 007 movie.
Yeah.
The president of the United States, who's supposed to represent all of us, including all the millions of Latino people who live in this country and vote. You're crazy. That's nuts. The media, the stations should never let that go on the air. Don't they realize those people are watching that?
Just so you know, I did a tiny bit of research. It feels like we're in a unique moment of history, which we are, but politicians leveraging immigration as a platform to get votes and drum up anger and fear and stuff is absolutely not a brand new thing.
No,
like,
not at all.
It's not
age old.
Yeah, it's old, and it doesn't. It's not even. Let me just show you. So this is an old immigration ad. You see Uncle Sam kicking the Chinese guy out.
Yeah. Yep.
So that was from the late 1800s. Here no Irish need apply.
Yeah.
That's against the Irish. Here we got, this one's a great one. We've got what appears to be a Chinese guy on the right, and looks like an Irish cop, like a Bobby, on the left, and they're eating Uncle Sam.
Yeah.
So this all exists.
People fight over resources. You know what I mean? That's what they do.
Well, it just means that people have historically been scared of the other. And that's why politicians will leverage it, like, oh, those people are coming to take your jobs.
Yeah. And good doesn't always win. You know what I mean? Like, look at the Native Americans in this country.
Right.
Like, there were people during that time that did speak out and say how horrific that was and how horrible that was. And the general population of the United States was like,
right.
Nah.
I don't want the Chinese laundry down the street.
You know?
Sorry.
And here we are. And it's like, that's the scariest part to me.
Yeah.
Because it means that it could probably happen again at some point in time.
And it will.
Yeah.
And it will. Like, I am not comparing Trump to Hitler.
Okay.
Okay? I have to say that because I think that's stupid because they are not the same person by any means.
Okay.
However, the Third Reich and Hitler used this not the Trump tactic, but the tactic of otherizing another group.
Divide and conquer.
Divide and conquer, right. Otherizing another group, an outside group, which just happened to be the Jews, and actually all kinds of groups, not just the Jews.
For sure.
In order to get support and get people on your team.
Yeah.
It's very, very common. Look at this. This is current. This is from the United Kingdom. There's an ad there in the UK illegally. Go home or face arrest. Someone bought an ad on the side of a truck and drove it around town. And there are tons of these. Like, I just went into Google Images.
Yeah.
And easy.
I mean, there's immigration.
Here's Australia.
You won't be settled in Australia if you come here by boat without a visa.
Yeah. Like, it happens in every single country. Yeah. Every country has a group that they don't want in.
It's so like, it's hard to imagine. I was born a heterosexual white male in a middle-class family in the United States of America. It is hard for me to imagine, like the odds of that. First of all, just the luck of that, off the charts.
Yeah,
it's hard for me to imagine what it must feel like to be a person living in a place that I didn't want to live, and not being able to leave. You know, because not only think about it, America is the size of 30 countries, right?
Yeah.
So we can, if we don't like it in New England, you can move to Montana. You can move to Florida. You could, I don't know why you would, but you can move. You know, you can move the equivalent of 50, countries away in some places. Maybe not 50, but imagine you're living in like a tiny country in, I don't know, Africa or Western Europe or something like that. Okay. You're like, I just hate it here. I want to leave. I don't like anything about the laws here. I don't like anything about the people. And you can't. I'll never be able to understand what that feels like.
Or worse, I fear for my life.
Oh yeah.
And I can't leave.
Oh yeah. And that's where I was going with that.
Oh, okay.
They just murdered my family, and I got to get out of here.
Yeah.
And they're like, you know what? You're not going to be settled here, man. I just can't. But at the same time, I realize there's an immigration thing.
Yeah.
You don't have enough resources to sustain a population.
Right.
That has. That never stops.
Open borders is not a reality.
It's not. And
it's not a reality. No. It can't work.
It's already sort of a reality with the internet in terms of the visibility.
Yeah.
But it's an incredibly complex problem to have, and I have no idea how to solve it. But I know solving it doesn't mean I know the way not to is putting on ads where you're showing people
that drum up fear.
Yeah.
Do you know there are American citizens, and they've done this before, so this isn't new either, but there are American citizens who traveled to the border within the last week armed so that they can help protect the border from the approaching caravan.
Yeah.
Which
they probably were the poor boys or whatever.
With guns, the Proud Boys.
Yeah.
Well, I think they used to be called the Minutemen.
Well, that's a very old term. That's a militia term.
But then they came back in the last 5 years or whatever, and I believe they called themselves the Minutemen again.
Really?
And they went to the border. Is that right, Zach? Yeah. They went to the border and they were armed and they were going to protect it. Like, what are you going to do with your shotgun, Jethro?
Dude.
Are you going to shoot this woman who's trying to cross with her stroller?
Right.
Also, if someone is trying to cross the border into the country you live in, I'm not saying that you have to agree with it. I'm not saying that you shouldn't call the authorities or snitch them out or whatever. But you're going to shoot them in the face?
Yeah. Stupid.
What?
Yeah. Doesn't that mean something about look, America's the greatest country around the world? They're like, we agree with you.
Yeah.
We'd love to join. And the majority of people who come to this country from other countries are hardworking people, and they bust their ass. You know, I've never seen people work. Like, we live in LA. There's Mexican and Latino people. These motherfuckers work their asses off, man. I don't want to pick strawberries 13 hours a day. And that's not all they do. But I'm just saying those industries are driven. Have you ever been, I've worked in a restaurant. The entire back house of the kitchen is almost all the time Latino. And these guys work their balls off, dude.
Yeah.
And it's just preposterous to me that the tiny, tiny little percentage of that population of people that come here that mess up, or they're knuckleheads or whatever, or they're cartel or drug dealers, which is a real thing.
Right, it happens.
But they're supposed to be representation of the entire amount of people that are here.
Right.
It's just not real. It's just not real.
I agree.
People are like, man, our neighborhoods are just not. They just don't look the same as they used to, man. First of all, guy buys a house down the street, then all of a sudden there's like 4 families in there, and then the fucking whole place goes to shit. Ugh, that's been happening forever.
Oh yeah, yeah. You know, I was told a few years back that the California housing market, because it's a really good housing market.
Sure.
Speaking of buying a house, that it's part of the reason why it's so good is because there's so much cheap immigrant labor here, and that drives prices down because you can build them for less.
Yeah. I mean,
not in LA. LA's
right,
ridiculous, but when you get outside of LA. Now, that was what I heard, and that was years ago, and that was one theory. I was from a professor, but it was, just one theory.
Yeah.
So that's one way to look at it. And also, let me clarify my radical centrist position. I am not for open borders. I'm not for any kind of policy that just allows all kinds of illegal immigration to filter through and use up a lot of the resources. It's not sustainable.
It's not. There should be due process. There should be due process, but there should also be amnesty laws.
Yes, which there are. Set in place by Reagan, I believe.
Well, I mean, look, I was so young when Reagan was president, but Reagan and Donald Trump are two very different people.
Well, of course they are.
They're both heroes of the Republicans.
Reagan was a moral authority.
Yeah.
That is the biggest difference between Ronald Reagan and Donald Trump. Reagan was a moral authority. Reagan looked at dictatorships, and he looked at communism, and he definitively said, this is bad. This is wrong, and the way that we're doing this stuff is the right way, and what they're doing is the wrong way. He had a very clear vision on that. Now, you can agree with that or not. That's totally up to you, but he certainly had a strong position on that. Whereas Trump has no moral leanings really on anything. Trump kind of does what makes sense for Trump in the moment.
Yeah, or what makes dollars,
Sure.
Dollars are cents.
Sure.
Yeah. I remember Reagan was the last president that I remember in my life where I had no opinion. I didn't really know what political parties were.
Yeah.
I just loved the president because he was a hero.
Right.
And I remember I have fond memories of Reagan. Like, he was our president, like, it was cool. And it's sad that you're almost not allowed to like the other side anymore. You have to, like what you said, divide and conquer. It's weird.
Yeah, it's shitty because it works.
Yeah.
If it didn't work, I wouldn't have a problem with it. But
Ronald Reagan won like 47 states.
He's
something like that.
Yeah,
like something ridiculous.
A landslide, I believe, in his second one against Mondale.
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
People were way into him, and then his vice president won after that because.
Yeah. And actually, George Bush did a lot of things that better than I think people thought. They attributed him to the initially the war in Iraq, but there was a lot of things that he finished after the Reagan years that were sort of incomplete. The Cold War specifically that he kind of tied off and didn't get a lot of credit for. Again, still I was very young, didn't do a lot of research there. I'm sure he did some not so great things, but
I was busy reading
just
Batman
a different
comics.
time. I hope we can go back to I really do hope we can go back to a more civilized age of politics again. I would love to not have to talk about it every freaking weekend. You know what I mean?
We can not talk about it on this show.
No, I like talking about it with you. I'm talking about on the weekends.
I know it's hard to talk about it with people. That's why I take this radical centrist position so that I can position myself as a guy who's like, I will listen to your thoughts no matter what side you're on. And I will choose what I believe is right and wrong in this situation. Not choosing what's left and right.
Yeah.
And not choosing what is a win or a loss, but what I think is the better thing to do in this situation. Sort of being the Reagan-esque moral authority on this. There's a right way to do things and there's a wrong way to do things. And in this box of wrong way to do things is this anti-immigration ad that paints this entire ethnicity of people or this entire class of immigrants as murderers and people who want to storm and tear down the gate.
Yeah.
That's wrong.
That's wrong.
It's wrong. It plays on people's emotions. It plays on people's fears.
Yeah.
It puts people down who don't deserve it.
Yeah.
And it's a shitty thing to do.
There it is.
Boom.
Take that.
But you know what's a great thing to do?
Hey!
Megan! All right, All right,
There we are.
guys. We are at that time once again this week. We are gonna. You want to play Make It or Break It? Or you want to play? Let's just play Sex.
Sex is like.
Sex is like.
Sex is like.
Oof, I don't feel like I'm sharp today. But
I don't know. Yeah, we got
Gotta get ready for it.
You guys don't realize how you just talking for straight an hour and a half is not like it's a skill. It's also takes energy. Sometimes after this, I immediately fall asleep on my couch.
Yeah.
After this, you guys are. What I'm saying is, our life is hard. It is. I know some of you are working in trucks. Some
Right.
of you are driving across the country. Some of you are probably lifting something right now. What we're doing is incredibly much harder than you
Yeah.
do.
There's like
Listen, all you steel workers. I don't want to hear any shit.
there are immigrant mothers from Honduras
Yeah.
walking hundreds of thousands, whatever, miles
Yeah.
across all kinds of terrain,
Yeah.
holding their baby.
Yeah.
And they're like down here
Yeah.
in terms of, difficulty of life.
Yeah.
And my life is up here,
Yeah.
which is way more difficult.
Try talking about it.
Yeah, exactly.
There's the real challenge.
Yeah.
You want to do it or you want to talk about people who do it?
All
Then
right.
come talk to me.
Okay. So let's play Sex is Like. Sex is
All right.
like, explain the rules.
Sex is like, it works like this. You get a word, any kind of word, and then we tell you how that word is like sex, our sex life, or sex in general. So if you were to say sex is like a glass of water, I would say, in my case, it's always half full.
Hey, oh, nice. Just one side note, I bet the Proud Boys play this game all the time,
Oh, you
except
just-
they literally describe sex to each other
Yeah.
because they haven't had it in so long.
And they can't masturbate.
Yeah, and they can't masturbate.
Okay, so sex is like a proud boy.
Violent? Sex is like a Proud Boy. Super violent.
Yeah.
Always in my red hat.
Oh, God. I feel like it's a bad call to even go down this road of sex is like a proud boy.
Go for it, then.
Sex is like a proud boy. Started by a lunatic.
Oh, okay.
Probably accurate. Probably accurate.
Sex is like a Proud Boy. Always a lot of dudes involved. Give myself the laugh on that one.
Jesus. Sex is like a proud boy. A bunch of years ago, you didn't really look at it too much, but now you're like, what the hell's going on around here?
There you go. Sex is like a Proud Boy. When you boil it down, not really a lot of pride involved at all.
Yeah.
All right. What do you got?
What else? Sex is like a cell phone.
Sex is like a cell phone. It never has any power. Sex is like a cell phone. Way too expensive.
Yeah. Sex is like a cell phone. I'm always checking for it before I leave the house.
Can't keep my eyes off of it.
Yeah.
Sex is like a cell phone. I always have zero connection.
Sex is like a cell phone. It's in my pocket. Hey.
Sex is like a cell phone. I got one really late in the game.
Sex is like a cell phone. Always getting fingered. Boom. Bazing.
Oh, that's too much. Oh, you got any from the chat?
Yeah, sex is like a Rubik's Cube.
Woo!
Uh,
No one even said it. People just laughed at the premise on
Yeah,
that one.
right?
Wow, it was a hot crowd.
Sex is like a Rubik's Cube. I started it in the 80s.
That's good. Sex is like a Rubik's Cube. I started it in the 80s and just never finished.
Sex is like a Rubik's Cube. I've never truly solved it.
Yeah, I was going to say hard to figure out.
Yeah.
Sex is like a Rubik's Cube. I ditched it to play video games.
Oh, boy.
Got another one?
Chocolate pudding.
All right, this will be the last one.
Sex is like chocolate pudding. It feels good when you stick your dick in it.
Oh, God. That's too much. Sex is like chocolate pudding. Better without Bill Cosby attached.
Yeah. Oh. Sex is like chocolate pudding because it's like Jell. Oh.
Oh, snap. All right, we'll end with that one.
Yeah.
That was good.
Oh. Can we just make that noise all day?
Okay, what is that again?
Oh.
Oh, God. That's horrible.
Everybody stick their ear next to the speaker on their laptop. Oh.
Oh, that's so gross. I don't know why. Okay. That's okay. You ever? Do you give a damn about the Kim Kardashian? I don't give a shit
I give
about
less.
the Kardashians.
No.
Except sometimes they come up in these stories, and we got to talk about it.
We do.
So I want this story to be less about her and more about the word that she used. So Kim Kardashian, over Halloween, she was at a party. I guess she and her friend who went to the party with her. They dressed like Pam and Tommy Lee.
Okay.
But a lot of people didn't get their costume. So Kim Kardashian was, what do the kids do these days? Snapchatting?
They do.
Or whatever, or Instagram stories or whatever. She was doing one of those things, and she got caught she caught herself on camera saying the word retarded.
Okay.
And she got a ton of pushback about it. So watch this little video. It's only a few seconds long. Let me preface this by saying the camera is not pointed at Kim. It's pointed at another woman.
Okay.
Kim, you could hear Kim talking.
Okay.
Kim is the one you hear
the voice
talking.
of Kim Kardashian, everybody.
Nobody knows who I am. Yeah, retarded.
Pretty brief, pretty quick.
Okay.
Retarded. So she got so much pushback. All the pushback.
All the pushback.
So
She got all the pushback.
I can't even handle how much pushback she got.
What do you think?
You know, when you're drunk at a party with your friends, you're probably going to say a lot of stuff that's politically incorrect, stuff that you know you shouldn't say, stuff that you wouldn't say in public. But you also don't typically film yourself doing it and then post it.
Yeah.
So I think she's kind of stupid, but that's, surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
Shocker.
Yeah.
Kim Kardashian is doing something dumb.
Yeah.
But I also think that is one of those words that people have become sensitive about over the past, decade?
Yeah, I mean, it was never nice to call somebody a retard. That was always like me going through school. It was definitely not nice.
Of course, it was an insult.
It was an insult, which is why it was like sort of cool to call somebody that, because you don't want to call somebody a word that's nice. It doesn't work that way. So, but I feel like it's soft. Like it has kind of moved on to mean something a little bit different than actually a person who struggles with that.
Yeah.
And I guess it's like, well, what do you want? What's the new word? What should we say? That means the same thing. Like stupid. There are stupid people out there. Can we not say stupid pretty soon? Or,
idiotic.
Yeah, but it just, it's a tough. I've said that word. I don't pretend to understand how it is to grow up with a disability and then have someone call me that as they're throwing rocks at me or something.
Right.
That's the real deal. But I also don't know what to replace that word with that has the same kind of a meaning,
There may not be.
There may not be. You might not get to do it.
That word took me a long time to get out of my vocabulary.
Yeah.
I'll just say that.
Me too.
I had to work on it.
And it's like, I kind of like, part of me is like, really?
I miss that word.
Yeah. Like, that's stupid.
But I also, it's like, I miss that word, and I don't want to be politically correct. I've never been a politically correct kind of entertainer or comedian by any means, but it's also not my goal to hurt people.
Right. Would you say that in front of somebody who had a handicap or who had maybe Down syndrome or something like that? Would you say that?
No.
No.
No, I wouldn't, because it's like, I want to be a good dude.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be funny, but like,
yeah,
that's terrible.
That's sort of where it comes down to for me, where it's, I'm trying to check myself on that stuff, because there is a part of me like, oh, it's just a word, man, and words change.
Yeah.
We're not, if you change the word off of the meaning that it had, which was hurtful to people, and it means something different now, doesn't that mean that you've taken the power of that word away on some level? There's that argument to be had too, where where it no longer means someone with mental disabilities or mental special abilities, and it means something that's bad, and you're saying that these people aren't bad. This word is bad, and they don't, no longer will they be the same.
So you're saying maybe they need to claim ownership, like it's the N-word? Like, what up, my retard?
No, I do, no.
Sorry, was that,
is
that too insensitive?
I don't know. I think that it is a difficult and uncomfortable process changing the meaning of words sometimes.
Yeah.
But that the only way to do it on some level is to completely dilute them until they completely mean something different. And that's what I mean.
Well, this word was not only ingrained in our vernacular, it was ingrained in pop culture. Do you remember the Black Eyed Peas song?
Yeah.
That song, everyone heard that song on the radio, Let's Get It Started. That is not that original song.
Correct.
That is the edited version of that song. That song was originally Let's Get Retarded.
Right.
Ha! Let's get retarded.
Yeah. And that was that word in that situation just meant like, let's get crazy.
Yeah, let's get nuts.
Let's get crazy. Let's get nuts. And yeah, would you say that in front of a dance floor full of folks who struggled with that? No, you would not.
Is it a loud, noisy room with the DJs playing a lot of music and is a lot of chatter?
No, I mean, well, yes.
Because you can pretty much fart in those rooms and
And
dance
it
in the other
doesn't matter.
direction and no one will know.
Yeah. I mean, I think what you originally said is right. Is she is under the spotlight, man. Like Kardashian, whether you like her or not.
Yeah.
She is under the microscope. So anything she says is, I think, like even if 8% of her fan base got pissed off, that's millions of people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So.
And she filmed herself doing it.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
You didn't watch that back and go, oh yeah, maybe that's gonna. She later, like, maybe that's gonna offend people. She later came back and did an official apology and all kinds of stuff, man. People got crazy over it.
I think that's because she knows. I feel like that's what happens now. Instead of just somebody in the room going, "Hey, man, you shouldn't say that," and you go, "Oh yeah, my bad." Now it's the world that says that in the form of outrage, and you go, "Yeah, my bad," and then you go on with your life.
Yeah.
And you just get checked in a public fashion.
Right.
You know,
it's kind of nice because it really lets you know. I mean, it's annoying, but it's nice because it lets you know where the line is sometimes.
Where at least with the vocal majority.
Yeah, if someone said, "Well, if someone asked, said, hey Ray, this is my stand-up act, and I'm gonna use the word retarded in it," and they told a joke, which I did, and I felt like, well, you could tell that joke without the word retarded, but you want to use the word retarded. That's fine. I'm not going to joke police you, but you are going to get pushback.
Right.
People are going to get upset.
And then you make
and
a
you
choice.
have to understand that, and you have to make your choice. Also, I like this story because I really, really want Kanye's new album to be called Yaytard. Because he has, Yeezus and Yandi.
Yes.
And then
Yandi
Yaytard.
is the funniest
Yaytard.
one.
That would be amazing.
Oh my gosh.
No?
Yeah.
Oh, now I'm being the
but
offensive.
But you say that. I mean, like Shay Carl, his whole thing is the Shaytards. Like he is a wholesome family YouTuber, and his thing is called the Shaytards.
Does that mean retarded though?
I mean, what else? It doesn't mean that retarded, but it is a bastardization of that word. You know what I mean? And it's like, and I think it's like little.
But that's old, right?
Yeah, that's years old, but it's still a popular channel, still does his thing, So it's one of those words that I feel like could change, Yaytard.
I mean, I think it has. I
hope so.
I think we as a society are in the process of phasing it out.
Or phasing
and this is
out
just part
the
of
meaning.
that.
You don't if you don't call someone who has, I mean, I don't even know what the politically correct word for that is at this point, because it was special needs, but now it's not. Now it's special abilities, and it used to be handicap, and it's not it's specially abled. So it's difficult to follow along with that. Okay, that's fine. You guys, whatever you guys want is what I'm going to call you.
Just settle on something.
Just settle on
something, and I'll call you that.
Yeah, but as soon as the word retarded doesn't have anything to do with those people anymore, the better off we'll all be. But I don't know if that word needs to go away forever, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. I mean, it could. I mean, it could phase out and just be dated at some point.
Yeah.
The way words naturally do. Like, you wouldn't call someone a scallywag now.
You carpetbagger.
Scallywag.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, no, I mean, I get it. I'm not I made some jokes in this bit, but I'm not a hater or anything like that.
No.
My mom's retarded. So I come from.
Go.
No, here we go.
Here it is.
I am very sympathetic to that, and I also understand that language changes and evolves over everyone's lifetime. It happens. Stuff you used to be able to say now upsets people.
Yeah.
And it's not because we necessarily live in outrage culture. It's because that's the way language tends to change and evolve.
And people also, well, yes. And I think we're also living in an age where people can see the power of speaking up, and they're like, look, man, this has always bothered me.
Yeah.
I just felt like there was nothing I could do about it before. And now we have this venue to say things and be like, no, actually, this has always bothered me. So cut it out,
Right.
And this is another conversation where I'd really love to have a conversation with somebody about this who had some personal experience with that, or could, give me the other side of the story, because I feel comfortable in at least where my position is now in order at least to communicate it.
Yeah.
But that could be shifted forever. And that's happened to me before quite a bit. So, what you guys in the comments think, let us know. There you go. Say it again.
Right. Are there any personal anecdotes, I would say? Because I would be way into that. Okay. Last story, man. We're going to end this with your favorite Dr. Phil.
Oh, bugger.
Bugger.
Bugger, Dr.
All right.
Phil.
I'm not a fan of Dr. Phil.
No, me
Neither are
neither.
you. I'm not a fan of
fan.
most TV doctors, although I'm still a fan of Dr. Drew, I got to say. I went back and listened to some of his stuff. I'm still a big fan of his.
I like Dr. Kevorkian.
Okay, fair enough. Dr. Spock is my guy.
Dr. Spock.
So anyway, you know this actress Shelley Duvall?
Yeah, we talked about this last week.
Yeah. So I talked about this last week. This is a story from 2 years ago, but it bothered me so much I wanted to bring, because we didn't have a podcast 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So I wanted to bring it up now.
Yeah.
Shelley Duvall is an actress.
Famous.
Very famous. Was in, her big role,
Shining.
breakout roles in The Shining, and then she was
Popeye.
She was not
Olive
Oil in the Popeye movie with Robin Williams. This is just to get a refresher of what she looked like then
Back in the day.
and who she is. Yeah, she's very recognizable. So she hasn't been acting since the early 2000s because she has been struggling with some mental health issues, right?
Got it.
And she's been apparently kind of a recluse, kind of a shut-in, and her mental health is allegedly deteriorating, and she allegedly refuses to take meds and get any kind of treatment. So Dr. Phil had this idea that he was going to have her on his show and that he was going to interview her. And I'm going to show you part of the interview, and it's kind of disturbing because
Already I'm looking down my nose.
she doesn't make any coherent sense. Like, she's struggling to string together a sentence. She's somewhat having paranoid delusion. Just watch.
All right.
Well, that's what I want to help you with, because it sounds like you feel like you have some people that are trying to hurt
This is
you.
okay right now.
Good.
But on the way in, past the front desk, and all the way down the hall,
She doesn't even
it
look
was
like herself.
very heavy legs. Buttocks, too.
Very heavy legs.
Yes, and buttocks. The man who's threatening me, threatened me to, he said, I'm gonna hang you up on the wall in my classroom.
Uh-huh. And who is this man?
I don't know.
Okay.
But my guess would be he's been portrayed by
No.
Either John Hurd or John Hurt or God, what is the other guy's name? Is it or Father Goose?
Father Goose.
Yeah.
It's very confusing, very disturbing to me because they started out with ground zero and 000. It's like when a nun at some place tells you, you're almost 000. And she meant it. And anyway, and everybody was already listening in on me, even from Santa Monica.
How do you sleep at night?
How do I sleep?
Do you sleep okay?
Very difficultly, no. I
It's hard?
sleep with clothes and anything I can think of, like, to put behind me. Because they compromised my back, my spinal cord. They hurt my spinal cord.
How do they do that?
They did that with a hornet. And it's some kind of
I don't want
hornet.
to give this too much.
Okay. Yeah, I get it. It's hard. It's hard to look at. It's hard to digest.
Well, why would you? That's my problem with Dr. Phil is like, why would you do that? Like, why would her family let her be? Unless they're trying to get her help and raise money or something like that and be like, look, this is legitimate. She needs help. But it looks like he's just doing it as like a freak show. Albeit he's being level-headed, and it's not like he's like attacking her in the interview or anything like that.
Right.
But you just don't put that on TV.
Right. Why would you have, because there's a pre-interview process, right? So why would you pre-interview her and then you get these incoherent ramblings where she's struggling to string together a coherent thought, much less a sentence, and be like, this would be great on TV. It would be wonderful if the entire world saw this. And he sits there and pretends to interview her as if she is going to give legitimate answers to his questions.
Right.
She's not. She's all over the place.
It's almost like he's looking at him being like, check this out. Unless this is Shelley Duvall's best performance ever.
Oh, God.
Which I don't believe it is.
No.
And you know
this
what?
is sad.
Supposedly, Stanley Kubrick kind of gave her a mental breakdown during the filming of The Shining. He made her do a take 127 times and like just mentally broke her down on the set of that movie. And there's like union laws and stuff about that now. We did a lot of research on that when we did the Epic Rap Battle on it, and he was ruthless to her.
It was brutal.
Ruthless to her. And jeez,
that didn't lead to this.
No, but I
this is not what
mean,
you're saying.
it's the straw that breaks a camel's back, you know? Like, Yeah, I agree with you, dude. I don't think that you should be putting stuff like this on. I feel like I've seen things like this before too, of like other celebrity interviews where you're just like, God, this guy, or like wasted out of their brain, or they're just off their rocker, and you wonder why the family or the agent or the representation lets it happen. Are they, maybe she's strapped, maybe she's broke, completely broke, or whatever. Like, what good comes of this?
That's what I can't figure out. What is the show like? How is the show going to cure her? How is putting her on TV going to cure her?
Maybe
How is his interview going to cure her? Anything he could do for her, he could do for her without putting her in the spotlight like that.
Unless she was trying to raise money, or unless this type of thing, maybe, it raises awareness about her situation. But it doesn't sound like he plugged it that way. It doesn't sound like he was interested in that,
In fact, from what I can tell, they took the episode completely off the air.
Oh, they brought it. They didn't ever even air it.
No, they did air it, and it got so much hate and pushback. I mean, this was from 2 years ago that you can't find really anything for it online. It took me a while to find even that little bit. That's why the quality's so low.
Wow.
Because they didn't want people. I think they see it as a mistake. They see it as a bad thing.
It's what's the word? It's not manipulative. You're using somebody.
Yeah, it's exploitative.
Exploitative. Shame on you, Dr.
It's
Phil.
exploitative entertainment, and it feels cruel. That was hard for me to watch. And that goes on for the entirety of the interview.
Yeah.
Like, she talks about how...
And he just lets her go.
She needs to get the Bermuda Triangle off of her because she doesn't want a hairy chest. And just things that don't coherently make any sense.
Well, she's obviously struggling with some kind of
untreated mental illness.
Yeah,
for sure.
And geez, she it's hard to recognize her. She used to be so supple and like almost too skinny, and now she's like much heavier and stuff. It's her physical health doesn't seem to be that great either.
Yeah, well, they tend to go hand in hand.
Yeah.
But if you ever wondered why I hate Dr. Phil and shows like that, I mean, this is a really good example.
They shouldn't be able to call him a doctor. Like, they should pull, like, his license did get pulled, right? And they didn't renew it. Didn't we say this last week?
Yeah, he didn't. He was a clinical psychologist. He has a PhD, so he can call himself doctor for life, but he's not a physician, and he's not a therapist. He used to be a licensed therapist until about 10 years ago, and he retired his license.
I'll just do the TV thing, and that'll be good. That's what he's thinking.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish they would pull him off the air.
Man, feel for you, Shelley Long.
Oh, I know. I hate to end the show on a sad note.
Well, why don't we talk about the election? There's a couple cool things that happened in just this recent midterm election that were pretty cool. We can talk about
Joe,
that.
just completely switch gears?
Yeah, why not?
Let's do it.
On a positive note.
Why not?
Whether you're a Republican or you're a Democrat or whatever.
Or a radical centrist.
Or a radical centrist. And
yes.
we like this the most. So now we have more even-sided government. So Republicans are controlling the House and gain some, actually.
Yeah.
And the Democrats control the House of Representatives, which makes for a more well-rounded House of...
Republicans control the Senate. Yes.
Democrats control the House.
Yeah.
That's more even.
Yeah. Now you have a balanced government.
Yeah. And we have the first two Muslim women elected.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes. I actually wrote it down here. I'll say it right now. This is pretty cool. The first black governor of Massachusetts, I want to say, and also of Connecticut.
Cool.
The first openly gay mother, I believe, was elected as well, which is super cool. Just a lot of diverse people were elected this election, which I think speaks a lot to, so the first lesbian mother in Congress, the youngest woman elected to Congress, the first black congresswoman from Massachusetts, first black congresswoman from Connecticut, first Muslim woman in Congress, and there was like two at the same time, first Native American woman in Congress, the first black woman attorney general of New York, first Native American woman, and the first Latina ex-congresswoman from Texas. So like a lot of diversity in politics right now, which I think is a direct result of Trump being elected, and like the backlash of how sort of polarizing he is puts the other side in action and gets things more diverse, which I think is good.
Yeah, I think diversity is a good thing.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So that's positive. That's positive.
Yeah.
We're moving forward. We're going together. We're not going to be taken advantage of.
I think diversity is good, not just in terms of backgrounds and ethnicity and religious beliefs or whatever, but I also think it's good in government in terms of, the bicameral, the chambers, one chamber being Republican, one chamber being controlled by the by the Democrats. I think that's actually really good.
It's certainly well-rounded.
Right.
And if the tip of the spear is a little bit more on point, then maybe I would be a lot better about it. But yes, I agree in a general sense. I feel like even if I don't like what everybody's point of view in this country is, I feel like it's their right to have a voice.
Yeah.
And that happens better when there's an even balance of power in Congress in general. So
I just don't like everyone being scumbags.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that right now.
Yeah. The
I
scumbag.
can't stand it. And that does to me, I do hold the tip of the spear, the president of the United States, a little more accountable than I hold either of the parties or anyone else.
Yeah,
because he's a figure. He's a figurehead.
I don't want a xenophobic in the way.
Who hates Zima. You know, the president actually doesn't drink. You know that?
I did know that. He just eats fried chicken on a plane.
His brother apparently was a big alcoholic and died.
Oh, yeah?
I guess that spooked him.
Yeah.
When back when, I don't know when that happened in his life. I guess he was young.
Yeah.
And
probably his dad, too, was maybe alcoholic or something.
Maybe.
I feel like everybody was back then.
I know. And they didn't even call it alcoholism.
Yeah. They just called it work.
Having a beer.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, did you know that, here's a fun fact for you, that the Renaissance in some part is attributed to the invention of coffee, because at that time in Europe, the beverage most consumed by the general public was just gin. So everybody was like either drunk or hungover or tired, and then coffee came along, and they were like, "Yeah, let's paint some shit.
I feel great."
Yeah, exactly. It's like
and
part
they
of
started doing art.
They just were more awake, more alert, more like raring to go. Like it's funny how little things like that affect stuff.
Oh, we feel terrible. Alcohol dehydrates you.
Yeah.
Let's have coffee.
Coffee, right? My kidneys.
Okay.
Well,
all right, buddy.
We made it.
Thank you for ending on that factoid.
How to do it, man. I couldn't end on that sad Shelley Long note.
Woo! It is that time.
We are there.
All right. This is we do this every week, same time. This is a time where we crown a king of influence.
That's
Basically, who is doing the best job in their influential position at doing the right thing. I think that's what's crowning the king has come down to.
Well, yeah.
And the jester is, who fucked up.
Who's the biggest joker of them all this week?
All
And
so we got the Polish Drake.
The Polish Drake. Oh yeah.
What's his name? Boogie.
His name is Boogie.
So we got Boogie, the Polish Drake in blackface. We got the alt-right group, the Proud Boys, who were banned from Facebook and Instagram.
Yep.
We got comedian Pete Davidson.
Yep. Pete Davidson.
And the guy he mocked, Dan Crenshaw.
Yep.
We got Kim Kardashian using the R word.
Right.
As we say. We've got Dr. Phil.
Yeah.
Of course, and Shelley Long.
Yep.
And all her mental illness. And then we've got the Trump campaign and their very xenophobic ad.
Right. Okay. I mean,
here we go.
I think I'm going to give the king to Dan Crenshaw for his handling of the joke and for him not demanding an apology, taking the high road. And I feel like that's a very admirable thing for him to do. And I respect him now more for it.
Yeah. Took the words right out of my mouth.
Oh, nice. I did that.
We see eye to eye.
Yeah.
As they say.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
And who do you give the jester to?
The jester, I don't know. I finally might have to give it to the Trump campaign.
Yeah.
For that very, very inappropriate, just blatant fear-mongering bullshit ad.
Yeah.
You can fear-monger a little bit in your politics, not like that.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Awful.
Come on,
Awful.
man.
I'm gonna go with Dr. Phil, only because I sort of expect that out of that administration at this point. It doesn't surprise me, and it sort of was just par for the course. This is a particularly low blow for Dr. Phil.
Is he the two-time reigning champion?
Yeah, he is.
Okay.
He really is.
That's good.
I stick to my guns on Dr. Phil. They're both drawn and loaded.
Oh, Lord.
That was awful. Just threatened physical
All right,
violence.
Okay, so
anyway. Hey,
yeah,
sorry.
We will
that.
end the episode on a bad joke. This is a good fun one.
Yeah.
Guys, all you I'm gonna wear this word out. All you radical centrists out there, stick around afterwards for the chat in the live stream.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you can text us.
Yeah. If you want to get a text every week about when we're about to go live, please text the word Kings KINGS, Kings to the number 43506. That's Kings to 43506. If you don't mind getting one text a week, then we will send it to you about when we're going to go live, which is every Wednesday at noon. California.
And you know they can text us back.
Ooh.
I got a whole when you guys text back and be like, "Thanks, I love your show." Like I actually see it.
Oh, cool.
On the thing. Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah. And
it
thanks,
doesn't
you
go
guys.
to my phone, but
all of you who have subscribed on the channel so far, like it's fun to watch it grow. And thanks to guys. You guys are the under 10K group, which is kind of nice, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
We're on our way to 10K, which is amazing, man. That's a cool thing for us.
It's not bad for a cult.
Not bad for a center-filled cult. We're like a big donut filled with completely rational people in the middle.
Yes, that's exactly what we are.
Yeah.
And it's all the bullshit on the outside of us, but we are the good center.
The good tasty
We're like
center.
vegetables in the middle of a maple donut. That's our slogan from now on.
Broccoli filling.
All right, guys, that is our episode of Kings of Influence. Tune in every Wednesday at noon, or we'll text you if you sign up for our text service. I am Ray William Johnson.
I'm Epic Lloyd. Thanks a lot for listening. We'll see you next week. Hey.
Hey.
Hey. Hey. Hey. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey.
Get up. Get up.
Get up. Get
Okay.
down.
Oh. End on a sad note. Guys, what is up? Let's see that chat. What are you guys
How's
doing?
it going, dudes and ladies? How are ya?
Oh, what happened?
What happened?
What happened?
Where did we go?
I don't know. Where'd the chat go?
Oh, no. What happened?
I'm glad this didn't happen during the show. I don't even... What is...
Live streaming, maybe? Is it?
Yeah,
live?
maybe it's under live streaming.
We
There
lost
go.
it for a second, guys, so sorry.
Wonder,
Yeah,
did that...
you guys might have to do corrections next week. You said Shelley Long. It was Shelley Duvall.
Oh, my God. We've been shitting.
Did we say that the whole time?
No, halfway through you switched to
Why
Long.
did I say Shelley?
Did we both
Oh,
do it,
yeah,
or-
from Cheers?
Yeah, you both did it at the end.
Oh, no.
Oh, well. Oops.
Subliminal messaging.
Okay, guys. We're
Yeah,
gonna
you can
do-
jump in and...
Yeah.
If we do it too much, you can jump in and say it's Duvall.
Okay, so this was hi guys. I'm a Muslim from Norway. Really appreciated your well thought points and common sense on immigration. Glad to see not everyone in the U.S. is delusional like the president. Okay, cool. Well, thanks, Awais. I think I said that. Awais. Hamid. Right on. Good to hear that, man. Yeah, we try to be rational around here. Try to have a nice.
That's the only way I know how to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is like, and I don't understand why other people aren't like that. I don't understand why other people don't look at these situations and say, yeah, you know, extreme positions on this are just not healthy.
Never. Especially he said he was from Norway?
Yeah, Muslim from Norway.
Muslim from Norway. I wonder what that's like to be a Muslim in Norway. Shelley Long, yeah, sorry, Seth. We just butchered that whole woman's name for like half.
I know.
We're going to have to correct that next week. All bad, our bad.
We said Shelley Long a couple times. Yeah, we'll listen back to it. I'll put a little note in the comments or something like that. Like we said Shelley Long, we meant like Shelley Duvall.
Shelley Duvall. We're right.
Oops.
No, you're right. What type of headphones do you have, Ray?
They were like the cheap kind on Amazon. Impow or something.
Impow.
I mean, not cheap, but they were like Amazon choice, best price for best quality kind of thing. And so I just got them.
Do you like them?
Yeah.
Right on. They're comfy. You guys will find it's so weird how
They squeeze my head.
They squeeze my head
like a zit.
The temperature of my body increases a lot when I have headphones on. Something about keeping your ears warm, like makes your whole body warmer.
Yeah, what is it? What's up with that? That's like my mom used to tell me that.
Yeah.
Keep your ears and feet warm and your whole body will stay warm.
The extremities or something like that.
Exactly.
Isn't this supposed to be podcast number 21?
Yeah,
I believe it is.
I just changed it to 21. My bad. Yes, we're podcast 21.
Right on. Well, thanks. Have that one says, just found you now. Big fan. Well, thanks, man. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, no kidding.
Glad to have you here. Thoughts on Defy Media shutting down? Did Defy Media just shut down?
That's Smosh's company, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they laid off. They're laying off everyone. I think they're ending in January. I read an article about that.
Man, I just don't think that multi-channel networks work.
The
as
business
a model.
model's not there.
It's
not really.
Not anymore. And they didn't do anything to increase the confidence in them in general. I think Studio 71 is maybe the only one left. What headphones do you use, Lloyd? These are Techniques, I believe. Yeah, Audio Technica. These are cool. These are good if you're like mixing sound or whatever. They're pretty high quality, which is, what we need to do.
Which is a high quality way of
High
to
quality,
live.
man.
Greetings from Russia.
Russia.
Woo. I can't say the gentleman's name because I don't know how to read a Russian script.
Yeah, what is it? Cyrillic? Is that called Cyrillic? That type of alphabet? I think it might be the Cyrillic alphabet.
That's like the part in your car that when it won't start. We gotta replace the Cyrillic. We gotta go to Lenny's.
Yeah.
And fill out an order for him, and he'll replace the Cyrillic.
You should have Red Kelly as a guest. Yeah.
We haven't had guests.
We haven't had, but don't you do a live stream with Red Kelly?
I do live stream on Facebook with Kelly a lot.
The first time I met Red Kelly, I introduced my wife to her, and I said, "This is Red Kelly," and she's like, "You can just call me Kelly." It was really funny. What about Mythical? When is your GMM episode coming out, Lloyd? Oh, I was on GMM once, I think. Yeah, I was on GMM once a few years back. I think we'll probably. Oh, that was Kale. We were there for a different reason, Kale. We were at the Good Mythical Morning for a different reason when we were posting on Instagram about it. So you'll find out soon.
Secret thing.
Secret lover.
Secret project. Yeah.
Greetings from Canada. Hello.
Greetings from Canada.
Greetings from Paraguay.
Helmy, what do you think of all this crazy stuff going on in the USA? I tried not to keep it too USA centric, but that's where all the outrage happens. So that's kind of what we got to talk about. But the first story was from Poland, actually.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, global stuff is good. I think it's. The comments are always very multicultural, global, which is nice. Paraguay. That's amazing that Paraguay is here. Where the hell is Paraguay?
Right next to Uruguay. It's South America.
Okay, good call. I should have known that. Sorry, y'all.
Greetings from South Dakota.
Hey, that's where I met my wife. Shayna Meek.
Want to let you guys know you had a Proud Boy in the chat today.
Oh, good to know.
Awful.
Yeah.
What happened?
He was civil.
What'd he say?
He was just trying to sort of help to people understand what their stances were and where they come from, and that they're not all bad guys. You could read that later if you'd like.
Okay.
Oh, man.
Do you remember any of it?
Yeah, just that he was a lot of the stuff. He's like, we're not all right. We're libertarian. We don't start fights. Other people start fights with us.
Of course, we're the victim.
A lot of other things.
It's our fault.
We don't start fights. We're just involved in a lot of fights.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Well,
we just don't back down from a fight. You know what I'm saying, bro?
Right. It's like I don't know what guys. It's the girl that's like, I don't know what guys. Every guy I date cheats on me. I don't know what their problem is.
Yeah.
It's like that.
Yeah.
Like, maybe it's your selection. Maybe it's the situations you're putting yourself in and the guys you're choosing.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
Food for thought.
Just a thought. Here, look at me blaming the victim. Yeah, but that's the thing. And everyone's psych. You know, they say everyone makes themselves out to when they tell a story. They make themselves out to be either the hero or the victim of that story. And that's what the Proud Boys are doing right there.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, we don't start fights.
Did he just leave?
He did. He wanted you guys to talk to him about it because he wanted to talk about it, but you guys were in the middle of recording, and so he left eventually.
I mean, we went ahead and showed footage of the leader of the Proud Boys describing exactly what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know who he's arguing with.
Yeah.
Like, I'm open to hearing it, but unless the Proud Boys have evolved since Gavin sort of stated what they are.
Yeah, it's pretty open about what exactly they are.
Yeah.
So
We don't start fights. Okay, but in order to move up in the ranking system, you have to commit violence or be arrested for the cause.
yeah, I mean, these are people who are like little Avendar is talking about it right now. It's literally ultimately going to end in violence. They said, well, blacks shouldn't have rights anymore. We got to burn these people out of America. That's a quote from these people.
Yeah.
You're like,
That's weird.
yeah, we don't. Then I can't hear you.
Also, when you're a part of an extremist group, and let's say you've got chapters in different countries like they claim to have, and then one of those members, just one, goes, yeah, we don't like black people either. Suddenly, everyone looks at the Proud Boys and goes, well, the Proud Boys, I guess, none of them like black people, whether that's their stance or not.
Yeah, but what the other ones can do is condemn that and say, no.
Right.
That guy's crazy. That's not us. And they did not do that. You know, that's...
He did say that at one point. He said that those people that were the crazy ones were now removed from the Proud Boys, so now they're...
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Just go play D&D or something, for Christ's sake.
So I'll tell you this, Lloyd. You and I have pegged ourselves as, radical centrists or whatever. The second radical centrists are affiliated with, bigotry or racism or anything like that, that's the second I go, I'm not a part of that anymore.
Yeah.
We're changing the name of the group.
Yeah. We're back to Kings.
I'm not going to try to convince everyone.
Back to Kings.
Yeah. It's not my job to convince everyone. No, but that's not That's not what the group represents. Like, nope, if that's what it comes to mean.
Yeah.
It's like those people when they, when you see a swastika and you go, oh, yeah, that's a horrible symbol. And people go, well, actually, technically, originally, it meant peace. It wasn't supposed.
Yeah,
I don't give a fuck what it used to mean.
Right.
I'm talking about what it means now. I'm talking like the Confederate flag argument. If people see it now, they see that flag now and they go, that represents racism. If enough of those people come together, then you got to admit, well, a sizable chunk of this population believe that it represents racism.
Yeah.
So I don't want to be affiliated with it.
We liked the Dukes of Hazzard too, man. We're leaving the flag behind. I want to play D&D Never Far Enough to Play With. Oh,
Never found enough to play with.
Oh, I did. Oh, I did nail the name. Okay, great. Do you like Dr. Oz? He's got weird hair.
No.
He's got a weird
You know the
face.
weird thing about Dr. Oz, though? Apparently he specializes in some kind of surgery. I can't remember what it is. He's apparently a gangster-ass surgeon. Like, he's
cool.
one of the best in the world. The problem is he goes on to peddle, like, bullshit creams and pills and pseudoscience stuff that he's getting a cut of that everyone just looks at him and goes, you're a fraud, man.
Is he a bomb-ass, like, plastic surgeon? Because that would sort of line up.
Cardiothoracic.
Yeah.
Huh.
So that sounds like harder veins.
Yeah.
Wow.
Would be my guess.
Thoracic.
Wow.
But cardiothoracic.
That's it.
Yeah, cardiothoracic. Yeah. And he's apparently one of the best in the country. He was I want to say a professor at Columbia when I was there.
Wow.
But I don't remember if he was pushing his bullshit products then.
Bullshit creams.
Well, how are you going to be a doctor and push snake oil, man? Come on.
Anyway.
And a good doctor.
Well, anyways, you guys, thanks for tuning in. We're going to tune off here pretty soon. This Q&A, the digital Q&A. It's always a fun time.
Digital
Thank you
Q&A.
to all the people out there in all the different parts of the world.
Yeah, no
pretty
kidding.
cool.
And as the kingdom grows bigger...
The kingdom!
You're all radical centrists now. Don't deny it.
Yeah, man.
Don't deny it.
Awesome.
We are in this together.
Yeah, right in the center.
Right in the... Sometimes. Right in the extreme center.
Kick that guy right in the center.
Right in the extreme center where you... Radical centrism, where you pull from the left, pull from the right, and pull from wherever to solve the problems in front of you.
Yeah.
There it is.
Well, good, guys. We're here every Wednesday at noon, as you probably all know. We'll be back here next week. We're going straight through the holidays, so we're not even taking a break.
Woo!
So.
Killing it.
Yeah. Thanks again, guys.
All right.
Love ya.
How do we
turn
off? How do we program the VCR?
Oh, God.
I don't understand.